Like the title says, I expect this to be the last JerseyWatch update before the big Fanatics reveal. I'm sorry, did I say that was the last JerseyWatch update? My bad, because we got more. This channel hit a major milestone last week with that JerseyWatch video, topping 25,000 subscribers. I can barely begin to thank you all for the amazing support. And to celebrate, I want to share with you some exciting updates to that last video. As Icethetics presents NHL JerseyWatch 2024 Fanatics Final Preview. It's fairly common that after I drop a major release like a JerseyWatch, new tipsters tend to come out of the woodwork, either to correct a report or to share something new that I didn't have before. Because of the Fanatics switchover this year, even more eyeballs are keeping watch on what's going on with NHL uniforms this summer. And that brings in more viewers and more tips. So thanks to all of that, I have a handful of updates to share today. The biggest news is that I was able to get more solid information on the rebrands coming to SoCal. Both the Ducks and Kings have new looks coming for next season. Plus, Utah released a new survey with their final 6 team name options. There is a lot to cover here, so let's dive in. First up, Blasty. Apologies to Flames fans for jumping the gun on this one. I was able to confirm that my previous source had outdated or incomplete information, hence the belief that Calgary could be dropping their black third jersey. That is in fact not the case. Blasty will be back next season and for some years to come, according to a well-connected source. I wanted to cover that one first because it seemed to stir up the most concern among fans. Next, a clarification for the Caps. I should have gone into more detail about the status of their navy blue third jersey. I just sort of offhandedly commented that it's due to be back, but I left out some context. For one thing, when Washington announced their third jersey schedule last season, they did specifically say that 23-24 would be the final season for that uniform. They even did a bit of a send-off later in the season. And then I got this conflicting report that it would indeed be returning under Fanatics. But for the sake of transparency, I need to point out that the source on that was the same as the one that had the Flames' third jersey being retired, which turned out to be inaccurate. So I am going to walk this one back as well. I can't actually say for sure that the Capitals' third will be coming back. So for now, I am going to take the team at their word that last season was the last season. Quick update on Minnesota. I hope Wild fans really liked the North Stars throwbacks they got during the reverse retro years. I've been told this look is the future of the franchise, but not next season. The Wild are apparently targeting 2025, their 25th anniversary season, to launch a rebrand of their own, a permanent switch to bright green and yellow as their primary colors. This is a big change that I'm told has been in the works for a couple of years now, and will be ready to roll out next summer. I can't say for sure yet if those reverse retros will be the exact jersey designs, but it would make sense. Minnesota began easing into this transition by adopting the green throwback as their third jersey last season, and they will keep it for next season as well. Speaking of 2025 rebrands, the Utah Hockey Club began the next phase of their brand development process with a second fan survey. Last Thursday, they announced that more than 500,000 fans had taken part in the first poll of 20 names, and that 6 of those accounted for 60% of the total vote. So they put those 6 into a new survey to see which ones rise to the very top. Here's what's left: Utah Blizzard, Utah Mammoth, Utah Yeti, Utah Outlaws, Utah Venom, and of course Utah Hockey Club, or Utah HC, which is how the team will be identified for its inaugural season. This survey, like the first one, will be open for 2 weeks until June 20th and confirms some of what Ryan Smith has said publicly in recent weeks. Though he indicated SCG was down to 4 name choices rather than 6, he did say Yeti and Mammoth were still in the running. Now, there was another bit of branding news from last week that is somewhat related. The Utah Jazz, also owned by Smith and SCG, unveiled a new look as part of a uniform transition that will begin this fall and conclude in 25-26. At its core, this rebrand brings mountain purple and sky blue back into the Jazz color palette, while yellow will be phased out entirely. Because of the SEG connection and the fact that sky blue is already being adopted by the Utah Hockey Club for their first season, some fans have wondered whether the hockey team's colors will follow the Jazz. We can't really know yet, but I suppose it is possible. Continuing on the topic of rebrands, we finally make our way to Southern California, where both local NHL teams happen to be planning redesigns for the same season. It was widely reported that Fanatics called on teams to hold off on any major changes for at least a year while they ramp up their new operations. So the fact that these two are happening now proves that they were already in the planning stages for at least a couple of years. Let's take LA first. The black banner has served as the team's primary logo since 2011, but was first used in 2008 on the Kings' third jersey with Reebok Edge. But let's rewind back to 1988. Under new ownership, the Los Angeles Kings went from this to this. It was a dramatic change that coincided with the arrival of Wayne Gretzky in LA and ultimately saw the franchise to its first Stanley Cup final appearance in 1993, leaving a lot of today's jersey-buying fans with fond memories and a strong sense of nostalgia. The Kings brand evolved in 1998, reintroducing purple and leaving the Gretzky-era behind. But lately, the old favorite has been coming back around. The Kings wore an Adidas version in February 2020 and 3 more times the following season, all against the Ducks in their orange jersey. Remember that, because it'll be more interesting in a minute. But that was also the season of the first reverse retro collection, in which the Kings blended that 1980s logo with 1960s colors. In 21-22, they introduced this, a modern jersey to go with a slightly updated version of a classic crest. A metallic finish gave it a cool shine, and the jersey striping implemented a sparkly silver fabric. This summer, that jersey will go away, as the Kings evolve their brand once again with a new logo and new uniforms, both of which will maintain the sparkle of the recent third jersey. I'm told the new uniforms are modeled after the Gretzky-era design, which should make 90s kids very happy. But to keep their identity fresh and moving forward, they are launching a new logo, a redesigned version of that classic mark. I was genuinely hoping to have a version that I could show you here. Unfortunately, that did not work out. But it's not all bad news. I can describe some of what I've seen. For instance, there's new custom typography to replace this kind of outdated design, a new crown heavily inspired by the original from 1967, and a bulkier overall shape to the logo. All told, it is a solid update for 2024, but it will not satisfy fans hoping to see purple return to LA. Now, let's shift over to the Ducks. I'm sure you already know the backstory here. A classic Disney film gives way to a real-world NHL franchise. Mighty Ducks merchandise broke all kinds of sales records in the 1990s, but after Disney sold the team in 2005, the new owners changed everything. Despite the Anaheim Ducks winning their only Stanley Cup while wearing black, orange, and gold in 2007, fans have continued clamoring for a return to those original colors and logos. It says a lot about how much people really loved that brand. In 2015, the Ducks revived the retro look in modern colors on a bright orange jersey. For their 25th anniversary, a few years later, they blended it with some classic colors. And the reverse retro program brought yet another example. But the team seemed content to use the Disney-era logo only in small doses, third jerseys and one-off throwbacks. But that just made fans want it even more. It's taken nearly 20 years, but the team appears poised to finally give in. The Mighty Ducks logo is coming back, but not quite how you remember it. It's been fully redrawn, with heavier lines shaping the familiar duck mask, which now bears an intimidating orange eye. And like the orange third jersey, there's a gold triangle, this time with more of the sparkle you might find on a Golden Knights jersey. Same goes for the gray shading from the original, that becomes gold as well. The crossed hockey sticks are no longer yellow. They're orange and have been reshaped with a curved heel and a flattened blade, which makes the entire design feel more anchored. In addition, multiple sources report a redesigned duck foot will become the secondary logo, serving as a shoulder patch on the jerseys. Speaking of which, black will no longer be the Ducks' primary color. Their new home uniform will be orange, And even the orange itself is not the same as it has been. As with the Philadelphia Flyers redesign last year, I'm told Anaheim is also adopting a darker orange. And again, I apologize for not having an image that I'm able to show here. There are obviously a lot of people who want to keep this under wraps until it's time to make it official. But if you want a bit of a sneak peek, this photo was shared in a since-deleted reply to one of my posts. It doesn't show much, but this is the heel of the hockey stick from that new logo. I understand that both of these logos are due to be officially revealed later this month, either at or before the upcoming NHL Draft, which takes place on June 28th in Las Vegas. And I'm happy to say that I will be in Vegas that weekend to capture and share as much as I can in person. I hope to bring you an up-close look at the new Fanatics NHL jerseys while I'm there. But one more update before that. On Saturday, prior to Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, the NHL and NHLPA released new details about the upcoming Four Nations Face-Off, a new best-on-best event set to replace the NHL All-Star Game next season. The announcement included a game schedule as well as a brand reveal. This is the primary logo for the event, containing the abbreviations for all 4 countries taking part. There's also this alternate version, which has been simplified. And as you can see, this 4 is kind of the core piece of the Four Nations identity, and it features the designated colors of all 4 teams. Those are red for Canada, white for Finland, yellow for Sweden, and blue for the United States. And by the way, this aligns perfectly with my jersey color suggestions from a JerseyWatch video I posted back in March. These designs were created by Adidas for the 2016 World Cup of Hockey, so I imagine the NHL has Fanatics working on some new designs for this event. And to be honest, I can't see any reason why each team would need more than one jersey if they're using these colors. Keep in mind that these are the same 4 team colors that were used for this year's All-Star jerseys. No word yet on when the Four Nations face-off uniforms will be officially released. And with that, I'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching this JerseyWatch update. Be sure to drop a like on your way out if you could to make sure more fans see this video and others like it. Then subscribe if you haven't yet so you don't miss out on my coverage of the Fanatics NHL jersey reveal. That's all for now. See you next time.